Welcome back, you guys. How you all doing today? In today's News Daily video, I'm going to focus on two stories only. They are going to be on the latest surrounding Lukaku's future and Thomas Tuchel. And for the second part, we discuss Gvadiol and defenders that the club you guys enjoy. But before I get into anything, I want to quickly say sorry for not releasing a video yesterday. I want to discuss all the latest news surrounding this takeover bid. However, the game came on last night, and normally when you do YouTube, if you release videos near the time, they died. I hope to release 2 today, but of course I've been busy and unfortunately I can't do the double upload. So I am going to talk about all the takeover stuff tomorrow in the morning, so stay tuned for that. So without wasting any more time, after you've hit the like button and subscribed, of course, let's start with the first story. Let's talk centre-back news. A report came from Nazar Kinzela from goal.com, and in it he states that we are looking at defenders like Jules Koundé, Pau Torres, Kimpembe as well too, Jose Jimenez, Atletico, and of course Gvadiol from RB Leipzig. Now I did release a video on Gvadiol. I broke down his game, why Tuchel likes him, and how he could really work in our system, so stay tuned for that because I'm not going to re-explain his entire game in this video. But it's interesting that we're looking at targets that can play down the left hand side and the right hand side of a back three. And I guess due to the comments that Tuchel made suggesting that he wants to make some surgery to the squad, it brings up a fair question now: that do we maintain a back three setup, or do we use this opportunity now of all these outgoings from the club to maybe revamp things and go to a back four system using a DM instead of an additional centre back? I think these are all quite valid conversations that can be had in the fan base right now. But of course, it's interesting to look at the talents we're looking at. There's a lot of left-footed defenders. We lack any left-footed defenders. That has to change. Of course, Gvadiol, he has that in abundance. He has the talent. He's got the ball progression that we need as well too. Comfortability, breaking into the final third, plus so much more. For me, this is a Chelsea quality player instantly, but naturally it's going to bring up some questions surrounding Levi Cole when, really both Gvadiol and Cole can basically do the same things on the field. And it will come down to this, and I mentioned this point years back when we first signed Pulisic. I've never seen any club get it right where you have 2 superstars, 2 top potential youth, fighting it out for one position. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you invest all that money or miss out on all that money to have 2 top players fight for one? I do feel like maybe it's a tricky one, to be honest. But when you have Cole, I think you have to prioritize him over signing someone the same age as him for Lini, double or triple the money. Doesn't make too much sense to me. Still though, Gvadiol has been someone that we've been monitoring and looking at since back when he was playing for Dynamo Zagreb. Back in Croatia. He's been on our scouting books for a very, very long time. And when players like him are on our scouting books, an example is Rudiger, who was on our scouting books for years back when he was in Stuttgart before he even went to Roma. Normally, there's a big chance that we sign these guys up. Could there be a future of Cole, Gvadiol, 2 left-footed players in the back four? Could be a bit mad with those passing angles. I'm not too sure about that, but again, that is news surrounding our interest for the player, and potentially, we are looking at a move for Gvadiol and Koundé alongside bringing back Cole and others to the team. So let's see how that goes. So right now we move on to another big story today, and let's discuss Lukaku and Thomas Tuchel, as there was a really insightful article released by The Athletic, and essentially, as I personally feel, like both Lukaku and Tuchel needs to find a middle ground now. For me, it comes down to just using pure logic. He's our most expensive player at around 100 million. He's earning over 300k a week. The fact, when you look at his age, the fact that other clubs in Europe don't have that type of money, the fact that your Madrids and your Barca's are going for free deals at this point in time, sums up that a lot of clubs are still suffering from the pandemic. So, our options don't really exist like that. So do we really have any right to just completely disregard and give up on the player, considering that it's not that his overall game has declined and he's falling off, but it's due to the system of getting the best out of his qualities? I feel that has to be addressed, and I personally feel like this Lukaku situation can be salvageable, and with the exodus of players expected to leave the club coming into the season, there's a big opportunity now to revamp how we play, make tweaks to the system, and sign the players we need to help us to, play a lot more effectively as a football club. But, regardless, you guys, we go back to the story, and there's a bit of a lifeline for Lukaku at this point in time. Now, the article does state that he's turned down interest from AC Milan, naturally because he doesn't want to further upset Inter Milan fans, and he's just not interested in Newcastle, even though they have the money to, of course, get a deal for him done. The lifeline, though, could be from whether Paris Saint-Germain are able to get Conte as a new manager, because if they do, they've already been promising Conte that they will sign him Barella from Inter Milan. And, of course, they'd like to get Lukaku for him. And then, essentially, Conte has that right-hand side that he had at Inter, Barella, Hakimi and Lukaku. That could be very devastating and dangerous, considering that all these players know how to play together and off each other. But, let's see what happens. There's still a lot of ifs and buts surrounding that. I'd be okay with Conte going back to... I'd be okay with Conte going to Liga, and that would make Spurs weaker, which I always want to see, you guys. So, going back to the Athletic article, though, the interview discussed what potentially went wrong. Now, of course, we know that infamous interview that came out during the midway point of the season. It was ill-timed, wasn't the best thing, but did it necessarily kill his Chelsea career and ruin his opportunities? It didn't, and I feel like I've said this a lot personally based on things I've heard, so it was good that the Athletic really reconfirmed things even more. There was no long-lasting bad blood between the manager or the players. They didn't react to it how us fans reacted to that article. So for all the talks that maybe like fan pressure and like the fan fallout has made him lose his confidence, it's got nothing to do with that. I just feel like with this situation, when we're talking about like professionals at the highest level, it's a lot deeper than that, because these players ultimately want to get the stats, they want to get the goals, they want to have great careers. So it's about the details on the pitch, the details in training, how you're looking in the system to get the best out of the player. And this is what we're currently not doing, and showing that we can't really do for many attacking players, in my opinion. You guys know I've said this quite a lot. I don't really feel like changing my opinion, to be honest. But, going on though. So for me, the issues we're seeing now, I feel like they would have happened regardless of whether Lukaku did an interview or not. I just think that when you look at the tactics, how we're trying to get the best out of him, it's just not effective enough. Lukaku feels like the pressing demands are just a bit too intense for him. Now, one of the reasons behind why is that Lukaku feels like the pressing demands up front are too much. There could be something behind this. I mean, he's 6'3", he's a very dense player. I think he's close to like 200 pounds. When you're constantly having to like exert so much energy to press, when your game is based on literally holding off defenders throughout the entire game, exerting your physical strength, and you guys who play sports, that it's not like it's an easy thing to do. By the time he receives the ball, he's already quite tired, hence why there's more mistakes to his game. And he said that at Inter Milan, Antonio Conte gave him more freedom to be able to play and find positions to affect the game in. A lot of times he was drifting to the right-hand channel time and time again. We've seen glimpses of that this season, but it hasn't been relied upon too often. It's interesting because in the article, The Athletic does state that, Tuchel, his staff, they're all quite surprised by Lukaku's incompatibility in the team. Of course, they held discussions with the recruitment staff at the club as well too, and everyone was in agreement that Lukaku is the player to take us to another level. So it's quite disappointing that all the detail and work that went into getting this deal secured didn't seem to be as effective enough. Because my thing is, when I watched Inter Milan, if you wanted all that pressing, if you wanted that dirty work done up front as well too, plus the link up, I mean, what did you think Lautaro Martinez was doing in that Inter Milan team? I mean, there's a reason why Lukaku wasn't pressing from the front like that. There's a reason why Lukaku does also do well playing up front with someone else. So my thing is, why has that not been translated here? For me, on paper, Havertz and Lukaku, it's been something that's not been tested much at all. Our two most expensive players in our history have barely played that many games together. I feel like there are solutions that could be found here that could get more effective use out of everyone, but we're just not currently seeing that. For me, we have to accept the fact that with how we're using him, because it is quite limited, the opposition are able to easily close off these passing angles to Lukaku. It's not like he has many players close to him or nearby him, and I just think that it further exasperates his lack of touches in the game, and it makes it harder for his teammates to find him when a lot of times he's got like two players near him all the time. So, when you read stories like this, it reminds you that, even though you have lots of these experts in the game, no one's infallible. No one gets it right every single time. Sometimes things that you think will work in theory just don't work out in reality. Of course, though, if you look at further details in Lukaku's game, is there a surprise that maybe the pressing part of his game wasn't going to be the thing that was going to be of much use for us, because it's something that he's never really done. And also gets me thinking, you know, is pressing really the most important thing? I'm looking at Kai Havertz. Yeah, it's nice that he works very hard from the front, he presses, finds angles, but that's not going to help him get more goals or get more assists, or, you know, get the type of stat padding that, you know, players of that ilk, of that caliber, that's what they want. That's why they signed for us, because they thought they were going to take their game to a whole new level. I just think that I could even see a future issue with this if we don't look to revamp and update how we attack as a team now, because Lukaku is not the first player that suffered. We've seen Werner come out, we've seen Ziyech, we've seen Pulisic as well too. Listen, it's a sign that's being painted here. But before I end things, I'm not here to use this as an example to be like, our attack's failing, you guys, this is why I want Tuchel out, because that would be stupid, and I don't want Tuchel out. I want Tuchel to remain. I understand that the squad hasn't helped. It's affected many managers in the past. I get that, and I think maybe this season I actually feel confident that for once, with new ownership, we can finally get things right actually to help Tuchel, to get him the players he needs and allow him to do the things I think he will do based on the things he's already done for Paris Saint-Germain and Dortmund. And I'm talking about 4-3-3, boys. I've seen these two teams play under him. I've seen the fluidity. I've been more surprised that we haven't seen it quickly enough, but I've also understood that it comes from the fact that we don't have that DM that you need in that system to fully bang and work. I feel now is the time for him to really take this team off the leashes now, because it's about letting these young guys improve and become better, and it's also about creating better quality chances, because listen, the reality under Tuchel's reign has been that we've always outperformed our XG. And what's that telling you? It tells you that we don't create enough quality chances. And is any surprise why we fail to take chances in moments? Of course not. Number one, it comes down to feeling the pressure, because you know that you're not going to get 5 more chances like this. And number two, based on the last thing I just said, every miss gets magnified more because you're not producing more chances. I mean, I watch football on a regular. I watch Liverpool, City, all these guys. The amount, how many chances they miss, that's similar to what we've seen from Kai, Lukaku, etc. It happens all the time, but gets forgotten about because they produce double the amount of quality chances that you need to win the game. So you guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Thank you for watching. I'm EFC, this is Blue Lions CV. I'll see you guys tomorrow with some more videos.